All right, so this Robert Kraft guy.
I love his cheese.
Different guy. Wait, same guy?
How else do you make a gajillion dollars?
By being crafty?
Macaroni, the margins on that stuff.
How would you know? I mean, you got the cardboard, you got the powder. Where does that powder come from? What is it made of? You can't tell me it's cheese.
Not supposed to be edible.
You cannot tell me that is cheese. Like, I'm a teacher, so I'm pretty familiar with chalk.
Yes.
And that's pretty chalky.
Do you use a chalkboard or a whiteboard?
Whiteboard.
Caught in a lie.
Speaking of being caught in a lie.
So what's up with Robert Kraft?
Robert Kraft be all like, well, his attorney be all like, what did his attorney say? Like, his attorney said something, and his attorney was all like, oh, whatever, nuh-uh. And Robert Kraft was like, I'm really sorry. So I'm really confused about this whole thing. That's a basic breakdown, right?
That is a basic breakdown.
I'm not an attorney lawyer guy. We have one sitting next to me.
Very few are.
Yeah. Whoa, okay. Ooh. It's true, though.
It's true.
Does anyone call you Esquire?
No. Well, no. Your grandma and grandpa, every time they would send Christmas cards in the past, would always put Dr. Anthony Montague, which...
Technically, you have a Juris Doctorate, right?
Yes, but, like, no self-respecting attorney goes by doctor, right? We recognize, at least I recognize, that a law degree is not as difficult as a medical or PhD. A medical degree or PhD. It's... First of all, it's less time.
Sure.
And also, there's I mean, I never felt like if I skipped a class, like, that could kill someone, right? Later in life, right? Like, I could just go back and read about it. But, like, if I were in med school, I'd be horrified if I skipped a class, like, forever would think, oh, what if it was that day that I was supposed to learn that this means this, and don't do that, or that means that person dies, right? Like, always in the back of my mind.
I guess that's a lot of stress that I didn't think about, right? Like, if I missed a day of my education classes, a kid might be a little mixed up about metaphors versus similes. But like you said, that's something you could quickly, like, just review and then teach correctly, right?
Yeah.
So,
you can Google a lot of laws, right? And, like, a lot of what
Are you saying a computer could do your job?
No, because a computer doesn't have the people skills that I have. But, and for a PhD, like, you spend, like, 8 years on, like, one subject and end up writing, like, 50,000 words on it or more. I don't even know how many.
Of your own research and, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a book that gets published and 3 people read it. And so, respect to my PhDs out there. But no one calls me Esquire.
That was a really long answer, by the way. Like, I get blamed for giving long answers to stuff, but woo!
All right, so yeah,
that was like a closing argument in a Matthew McConaughey film.
And as incoherent as Matthew McConaughey
all
right. So Robert Kraft over the weekend, he issued what's being called an apology, but I question the use of the term apology. Now, he does say, I'm sorry. Okay, he says...
Sounds like an apology to me.
Let's just read a little bit of what he says.
Bring it.
In deference, this is a quote, in deference to the judicial process,
Dana Carvey.
I have remained silent these past several weeks. To correct some of the misinformation surrounding this matter, my attorney made his first public comments on Friday night, the day before. I would like to use this opportunity to say something I've wanted to say for weeks.
Ooh.
I am truly sorry.
There you go.
I know I have hurt and disappointed my family,
okay,
my close friends, my coworkers,
sure,
our fans,
who,
and many others who rightfully hold me to a higher standard.
Okay.
Throughout my life, I've tried to do the right thing. The last thing I would ever want to do was to disrespect another human being. I have extraordinary respect for women.
Oh.
My morals and my soul were shaped by the most wonderful woman, the love of my life, who I was blessed to have as my partner for 50 years.
Oh, I care about him now.
As I move forward, I hope to use the platform with which I have been blessed to help others, to try to make a difference. I expect to be judged not by my words, but my actions.
Oh, really?
And through those actions, I hope to regain your confidence and respect.
Those actions are on film, by the way, Robert. Allegedly.
What is he sorry for?
I don't know. He doesn't really say. He just says he is sorry. He's sorry for disappointing people.
He never once in his apology says what he did. And as far as I'm concerned, an apology is saying sorry for doing something.
Sure.
Right? And so in my opinion, this is not an apology, right? This is a plea to media, to the NFL, to potential advertisers, sponsors, partners of the Patriots. A way of him putting out, I guess, a brave face, maybe, but it's not an apology.
So he's not admitting at all in this supposed apology. He doesn't admit at all to any wrongdoing, is what you're saying.
That's right. And in fact, the day before, and you can't tell me that he had a change of heart in 12 hours. So then the night before this statement comes out, his attorney issues the following statement. There was no human trafficking, and law enforcement knows it. The video and the traffic stop were illegal, and law enforcement just doesn't want to admit it. The state attorney needs to step up and do the right thing and investigate how the evidence in this case was obtained.
And can I just say something? You called this exact thing a couple weeks ago.
It's true.
And I know that, I mean, you're going to be humble about it, but I'm going to talk you up a little bit because I don't think across sports media anywhere, do we have someone who broke down this as thoroughly and as intelligently as you did and then predicted what the legal counsel for Robert Kraft would do, and then they did exactly what you said they were going to pursue. I mean, almost word for word, you said that they were going to be looking for this exact thing.
Yeah.
And I find that very impressive.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And all four of you that are listening this week, I'm sure you find it impressive too.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty clear to me that the correct course of action was going to be to question how the evidence was obtained, right? Because you can't say, no, he didn't do it.
Because there he is on video.
Because, right, they have the smoking gun, like we talked about, right? And so all you can do is say, what?
Keep going.
David.
Keep going.
David.
Keep going.
All you can do is say the evidence that was obtained in the wrong way, the warrant was issued incorrectly, and a host of other procedural things that may have been messed up along the way. And so they have rejected, there was a plea that was offered to Kraft and his team, where he would have to admit, not that he was guilty,
of course not,
of the actions that he's charged with, but that the evidence presented at trial would, let's see how to phrase this. He would have to admit that he would essentially be convicted based on the evidence that they had. So the distinction is, I didn't do it, but the evidence that you have shows me doing it, but I'm not admitting I did it. Okay? Versus, I did it. Yeah, your evidence is going to corroborate that I did it, right? Because what can happen? Okay, say you're on trial for murder, okay, and there's 4 witnesses that will point at you and say, yeah, he's the guy who killed him. But you don't have an alibi, but you know in your heart, well, I didn't kill that person. Like maybe someone who looked exactly like me did, but I didn't do it. And they offered you a plea. You could feel in your heart comfortable that, okay, I will admit, based on the evidence you have, I would be convicted.
Okay, so based on the evidence that you're presenting right now, even though I did not do this, the jury would convict me.
Yes.
Because the evidence against me is that strong.
Yes.
But I am admitting that while also saying, even though it looks overwhelmingly like I did this thing, I did not do this thing.
Yeah, you're not admitting guilt. You're admitting that you would be found guilty.
So in this case, where it's not like an eyewitness, it's like a video that people will be able to see. How is that the same as the eyewitness idea that you just presented?
Well, you could have someone who looks like Robert Kraft, right?
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. And it depends on what exactly they're charging him with, right? And so, but that was the plea that was offered and was rejected. And it's not uncommon that the first offer is rejected, right? Unless it's just a get out of jail free card and you don't have to admit anything, and maybe you just have to donate some money to some charity or something like that. Maybe you accept that. But his team decided to reject this, and maybe the next offer he won't actually have to say anything. I mean, who knows? Maybe they just drop the case in return for his cooperation with a larger investigation,
which appears to be a human trafficking situation, allegedly.
Yeah, we'll see. I think there are conflicting reports even now about that, as to whether or not these women were held there involuntarily. So who knows? It could. hopefully this doesn't end up being a big snafu on the police's part, and the investigation was done correctly, and hopefully this doesn't all just fall apart and everyone walks and the story goes away, right? Like, that's the worst case scenario.
I like how you said police S.
I didn't know how to make it possessive. Did you just say police?
Yeah.
The polices. No? I don't know.
That's great. The way your kids say polices makes me they don't say like police officers or cops. They say I saw 2 polices, and it's like my favorite thing.
Is that right?
That reminded me of. That's where they get it, clearly. So more legal stuff happens. I feel like for the last month, every week for the last month, some legal thing has happened that I think, my gosh, Anthony's going to know how to break this down perfectly.
The intersection of sports and politics and the law has never been greater.
Yeah.
Because players are more political.
Right.
Or at least as political as they ever have been,
right.
It seems like.
And open with it. With social media, they can put their political views out there in an instant. I mean, look at LeBron James. He's not going to shut up and dribble. He's going to literally say, I don't like that president. I'm not going to sit and talk with him, even if he invites me.
And because of social media and our 24-hour news cable society, every indiscretion a player has, legal, moral, etc., is going to be broadcast widely and frequently. And so where, not to disparage the great Mickey Mantle, I'm just going to throw him out there. If he did something illegal in New York, it may just be covered up. Like, it may just not ever get reported. I mean, you have this with, like, JFK, right? Like, he had some indiscretions in the White House, but there was kind of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge with the reporters, like, we're not going to cover this because, you know, like, he's doing good things as president. Like, let's not rock the boat here. Could you imagine that? It doesn't matter who's in office today. Could you imagine a reporter sitting on something like that?
No, not when they can get famous.
Not when you can get clicks, right?
Right.
And so everything today you can monetize, right? Any bit of information
Except
you can
for
monetize.
this podcast.
That hurts. It cuts deep.
That's deep for you.
So I don't. You got me. You got me off my train of thought, David.
Woo woo.
Where was I going?
Something about monetizing things. You can monetize anything. Clickbait. Could you imagine a reporter sitting on that story of a president doing something wrong or illegal?
Oh yeah. So this intersection of sports, law, politics, moral
that confluence,
turpitude.
Right.
It's all going to get reported, and so to have good, accurate, comprehensive, complete coverage, you can't just have the sports analyst, right? You need to pull in people from multiple disciplines to properly analyze these situations, right? And that was a complaint I had, I think last week or the week before, about how, you know, because we have all these stories that have some kind of legal aspect, and the sports reporter reporting on legal matters, it leaves much to be desired.
Right. So you either have a sports journalist trying to cover law stuff and they're inadequate there, and then you might have law reporters or maybe former attorneys who are reporting on the law who don't understand the sports aspect of it well enough. But then here comes Anthony Montague, the trained practicing attorney,
sports junkie attorney,
who is also a sports broadcaster.
Sure.
I didn't say professional.
Okay. Yes. Amateur.
That's how you hedge.